Welcome to the 2017 Red Raiders Coaches Show. I'm your host, Joe Hayes, and I'm here with head coach Kyle Langford. Coach, 4-1.
Yeah.
We had a big momentum going into this game and faced a very stout Toombs County, and we came up a little short. I know there was a lot of controversial things going on, with this game, but we can't blame any loss on any one call or any one player. It comes down to a team.
Well, what you do is when you have a game like this, then you have to look where it starts at, and obviously I'll be more than glad to take all the blame, because I thought we did a very poor job of preparation. I thought we did a very poor job of having players focused, and I thought I did a very poor job of having people where they need to be and play calling. So the list for me is pretty long, but I can assure you I'm a professional, I'm a big boy, and we'll fix it and get it straightened out and move on with our life. But yeah, it was a bad way to lose it, and but like we've told them from the jump, in this region, we know how good this region is, every team, and you won't turn the ball over 5 times and beat anyone in this region. It will not happen. And we did Friday night, and the results were we all sad right now,
Yeah. Well, Coach, going into any game, you always try to come out with learning a lot. But usually when you take a loss, you learn a lot more, because you find the areas where you're weak at. You find where you make most mistakes, because you seem to go back and dissect it more. So let's get into that a little bit.
But I will say this, though. You only learn from it if you want to learn from it.
That's right.
So if you don't want to learn from it and you want to say, well, you know what I did was good enough, then you'll continue to repeat that. But if you say, what I did, we didn't do this right, and let's do it better, then you will get better. So that will be totally up to the attitudes of our young men, and I know our coaches' attitudes are right. We just had a good meeting today, and so it's up to them. We got to grow from it, get better, and just play Red Raider football.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the ugly first, and I think you already kind of keyed in on it. I think the 5 turnovers was, by far probably the ugliest portion of the game. That's something that we've tried to work on and seem to be getting a little better, but coming into this a tougher opponent,
right?
We kind of slipped back and fell into those tendencies.
If you want to break it down, you can go to the 4th play of the game. Is when they snapped the ball 20 yards over the punter's head, and the punter's an excellent punter, but he's a 260-pound kid, and he outruns us to the ball back at the goal line and punts it for 50 yards, and that's really inexcusable. We had a single block on the right side, so our block guy falls down. Once the ball goes over his head, I don't know what happened, slip, trip, whatever, falls down, and we don't do a very good job, because to be honest with you, when I saw a snap, I said, okay, we're going to have the ball inside the 5 and we're rolling. And that's really what should have happened. But to their credit, the kid had a lot of poise, a lot of composure, and got an excellent punt off. So then we start the ball at midfield. So that was just one of the first things that really went bad for us.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed it a lot in professional games where they have cleat issues and traction and field conditions, and I see it a lot in the NFL, but I've never noticed it a whole lot on the high school level. Typically, we're playing on the same type surfaces. Right. We're not changing up different surfaces, and we've got a pretty robust cleat that adapts pretty well. But Friday night, I saw a lot of traction issues and players slipping and falling, and the field was pretty wet and boggy out there.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful field. I think what may have had some of the problem with us falling down was number 6 running at us. That might have had some of the issue, because I'll tell you what, and I'll tell anybody this, if that kid's not a Division I running back, then there's a lot of people within the radius of Valdosta and Statesboro need to be fired, because he's as good as I've seen in a long time, and a tough kid, and an excellent running back. And I'll tell you what, the boy played with a lot of class and just seemed like a really good young man,
Yeah. Well, they, speaking on that kid, had he been out a little bit? Was he?
No, he early on, I think back during the summer, I think he had an MCL, as you could tell by his brace on his knee. But no, he's played the whole year. he's very good, and luckily for them, 44 is also very good too, or 28. So they had really two good running backs, and the quarterback was outstanding too. I thought, comparing last year's game to this year's game, I thought we did a much better job on the quarterback, and he's a dangerous player. But we did a better job with him, and once we settled down after the first couple of possessions, we did a better job total. You're not going to stop a guy like 6. It's not going to happen. But I thought we did better as it progressed. The problem I have is you can't spot a good team at a 17-point lead. And when you do, then you're in trouble. And we knew we were. Once that thing got 17-0, we said, okay, we're going to throw it the rest of the way. And that's really what happened. I think we threw it 34 times Friday night. We had some success at times. But that's not ideal for us. But what are you going to do when you're behind, you're not having any success running the ball, you better figure something out. So we did enough of that to keep us in the ball game. But what's super upsetting, and we talked about the turnovers, is I really thought as a whole, and we watched film again today with the whole staff, I thought defense really did not play bad. The issue I had was we were out of position numerous times. And what that tells me is two things. We're not coaching them good enough, and they're not paying attention good enough. That's two things that's happening. Because, okay, they ran power right, and everybody knew it, everybody's screaming. They're giving it to see. Of course they are. But when we don't line up and do what we're coached to do, then we're not going to stop it. And that was the problem we had numerous occasions, and I can promise you we will address that as we go on this week. But 13 of their 20 points were a direct result of turnovers. Yeah. So we can play the if and that and what game all night, but I do know if we don't turn the ball over 5 times, then we're at least dealing from the top of the deck and not the bottom,
Well, Coach, we, one thing we did do, they did score, like you said, on those 2 short possessions there from turnovers. They took advantage of that.
Excellent kicker too, boy.
Yes.
A real super weapon, and a kid that was so versatile in all of his kicks. We saw a beautiful, executed pooch onside kick, kicked it through the end zone one time, and teed up that 47-yarder like it was nothing to it, not get through. So a real weapon, and it wasn't a fluke. You can tell that guy knows what he's doing, and they have a lot of confidence in him. I thought he was really outstanding.
Well, I'm going to give you my good take from the game of what I saw from my perspective, and then I'm going to ask you, from a coaching standpoint, what you got. One thing that I noticed that, really kept me holding my head high is our players never quit. No. And some of our players took a beating. Yeah. And number 6 punished them run after run, and they're playing on both sides of the ball. Yeah. They're playing on defense and they're playing on offense. And they hung tough. They stayed in there. And in the second half, when the going got tough, we held them to 3 points. Yeah. And to me, even though we lost, I take that as a win because, it's something that, I see you coaches try to instill in them. I know it's something as far as a fan standing on the side looking in, and what we're trying to teach our players and what we're trying to coach them to do is, they never put their head down, they never gave up, and they fought to the bitter end.
Yeah, and you can be, and we tell kids, it's okay to be mad and it's okay to be disappointed because that's human nature. But you're going to always play hard, or else you're not going to be a Red Raider. There's no option other than that. And I'll be honest with you, when we got the ball back with 2.5 minutes, I said, well, there we go. And that's all you ever ask for in a football game, really and truly, is you say, I want the ball at the end with a chance to win it. We had the ball at the end with a chance to win it and just didn't get it done. We hit an excellent completion on the first play, 2nd and 6. Then we had a totally busted protection up front on a 3-man rush. 2 of the 3 sack our quarterback. And that's inexcusable in that situation. Inexcusable. So now you're looking at 3rd and 15, and it was a terrible play call on my behalf. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's 3rd and 15. We're going to at least take a shot 2-14 down this field. He's the best player we got at the time in that position because he's done it so many times before. And I said, we're at least going to give him a shot to go get one. And unfortunately for us, it didn't happen. But I was so proud of the way the defense held at the end. And we used the timeouts wisely. And really, time was not an issue for us. With 2 minutes, we felt really good about the time. We could go 80 yards in 2 minutes any day. You know, and just a couple of mistakes here and there. Once again, it's a 11-man deal. You know, if 10 guys are excellent, one guy stinks on a play, then the whole play's done. And we just had a couple of miscues and took 2 sacks, and I can't tell you the last time we've been sacked. You know, if you really and truly think about it, we hadn't been probably sacked in 2 years. Yeah. So that was a little sad for me, but it's something we're going to fix.
Coach, and I know a lot of people are asking, I know we continue to use 2 quarterbacks. Right. You know, we're going to stay in that 2 quarterback set. Is that something continuing going down the road?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, at this point, are we going to still continue to use both quarterbacks? We're going to look at trying to gear more towards one? Or?
No. We use 2, just like we've been doing. And we were 70% completion percentage the other night. Cooper was 7 of 8, and I think Dawson was 7 of 13. So something in that ballpark. But I thought they both threw it well, and we're going to play both of them. Okay. You know, because as I can promise you this, as physical as these next 3 games will be, and as physical as this game just was, we're going to need both of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Coach, you know, I don't think we had too many injuries coming after that. The biggest injury I know we took that I witnessed was really our pride. Sure. You know, and any time you take a loss, especially after the success we've had, it's, you know, the players have worked hard and you know, they wanted to win and wanted to come out with one.
Well, they might have hoped to win. I don't know how much we really wanted to win because I don't know that we did the things necessary in preparing that winning teams do. And there's sort of this contentment when you win 4 games and people are hugging your neck and everybody's so excited and it's a great accomplishment, we know. But you sort of let down a little bit and you sort of think, well, I've been successful 4 times and now I'll just be able to show up and do it one more time. And that's not the way this game works. Every game is a season of its own, and you can take the previous game and you can, you know, store it in the closet for later because it's not important. Just like this loss Friday night. I promise you, come tomorrow morning, it will not be an issue for me at all because we've moved on to Vidalia. I mourn for 24 hours and I'll celebrate for 24 hours. And I'm through with the mourning and we're moving on to Vidalia because it's super important and it's going to be a super physical game. And if our men don't do that as well, then we'll be sitting here sad again next week. So that's the choice we have to make. And if we're content just being an average team, then we won't work very hard this week. But if we're not content with the results we had Friday, then we'll show up and work real hard this week.
Coach, is that a speech that you will probably give the players come Monday morning?
More or less.
In the morning, pretty much is, you know, we've come off this loss and, you know, we've got a new week, we've got a new game, and we've got to get back to work.
We probably won't even mention the game at all. I mean, the only time we'll mention it, we do film on Monday as a team, and so we'll make sure everybody understands shortcomings during that time. But other than that, it's not anything we're going to put any focus on because I know how good Vidalia is, and people can believe me or not believe me. I hadn't lied yet, but they're really good. They're really good, as we well know, throughout the year. So we'll have our hands full, but praise God, we'll be at home. And I tell you what, after traveling around to some of these other places, it makes me proud to be in Bacon County to see the kind of facilities we have and the kind of pride we take in our stuff. Because it's first class, second to none, and I guarantee you there's a lot of people wish they had what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll dive into Vidalia, our region opponent coming up this Friday night, and we'll see what we have to say. All right. Welcome back to the Red Raider Coaches Show. Coach, each week it doesn't get any easier. Region 2 AA brings it every week. We got a big region opponent. This one has seemed to get the better hand on us for quite some time. Vidalia,
They're very good.
we have not beaten Vidalia since 1974, if that tells you anything. We have not beaten Vidalia since 1974. They own us in the series. We're 2-11. Like I said, the last win come in 1974.
Well, I'll tell you the bright side. The bright side is eventually we're gonna beat them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and no streak goes on forever, as we well know. So, you know, might as well do it Friday night.
That's right. You know, I'm excited, you know, this week to see how our players respond. You know, if we can pick up after a loss, see what kind of motivation that they can build on. I'm excited to see how the coaching staff responds to the players and how they respond to you guys. I really love this group of kids. They're exciting to watch. There's a lot of talent there. They're playing as a team. There hasn't been a lot of drama going on. And I have no doubt in my mind they're going to find a way to, you know, to pick back up and pick the pieces up and put them back together and let's get back to business. What have you seen on film? You know, what can we expect coming with Vidalia coming here to Bacon County? You know, what are we going to see from them this year?
Pretty similar to what we've seen the past 3 years. Very physical, wing T based team. On offense, defensively, they're a 4-4, cover 3 team. But they'll be real physical up front on both sides of the ball. They have a fullback that looks very good and runs the ball really hard. Their quarterback's a huge kid now. He's probably 6'3". You know, he appears to be 240. Same kid they had last year, and he's a handful. But they'll be very physical at what they do. They're an inside run team, and every once in a while they'll try to get the edge with a jet sweep or a toss sweep on you. But I like the team. I can tell you they'll be well coached. And I'll tell you, they'll be disciplined. And a lot like some of the other teams we've played, they're going to get to the football and be nasty when they do on defense. So we've got to do a really good job of executing and a really good job of mixing plays up this week to give ourselves a real good chance.
Coach, are they a more run-heavy offense,
yeah.
or do they air it out very much?
No, it's a run-heavy, and it's typical wing T.
Yeah.
Similar to Pierce, similar to what Jeff Davis, you know, type thing. They'll run the leads. They're going to run the sweeps, and they'll run maybe a little option, very little option.